Okay, it's 7 a.m. Good morning. So I'll go through the zones that I have analyzed out of the market and the volume by price profile for CL, gold, ES, and Nasdaq. So looking at crude, I see that we have a ledge at 60.64, which is supporting the recent up move from a structural point of view. And also looking at the market profile, we see that we traded basically through the low volume zone around 60 up into the upper distribution, which I highlight with the lower and upper ledge at 60.93. And if you look at the whole structure of the volume by price for crude, that you see we are basically back into the trading zone between 60.64 and 64.93 roundabout. And this looks to me that we could potentially trade back through the whole area, back to the top upper ledge at around 64.93. Looking at the market profile, I see that we could be facing some resistance around 61.60 to 61.83. Also, the footprint shows some imbalances around 61.50. So I'll be watching this area. We are right about to reach it. Further up, I see also some sell zones from the market profile in the area around 63.20 to 63.41. And the upper ledge is also supported by a sell zone around 64.59 to 64.97. Looking at the recent up move, I see only from the current session the footprint imbalance to the long side around 60.89, which is currently the POC. So you have to keep in mind that during this week we have switched to winter time where I'm located, so the profiles might look a little bit off, but only for this week. Looking at gold, I see some areas where we were seeing a reaction during the recent days, which is 41.72 to 41.96, which is a low volume area in this whole distribution that we've been trading through. And in between the whole distribution, I see also some low volume areas that could be acting as support and resistances, or we can trade above or below. So right now we are in the distribution between 40.25 and around 40.79. So I'm looking to trade in between these zones until we either trade lower or trade higher. Trading lower I would prefer, since we have more room to the downside down to 39.38, where is a low volume area I've highlighted. Also, we have some untested daily POCs at 39.99, almost 4,000. So good potential for further sell. But I see that we are in a buy zone area that I marked from the market profile, which has, to be honest, been tested already during last week. So it's a bit weakened. Let's see when we are in the regular trading hours for gold and when the US markets open, what will happen. But it looks weak to me, so a potential to sell off. Also, the previous week's low is around 40.21. So there's a good chance that they trade a bit lower to test the open POC here. And then we have also down potential to the buy zones, which overlap with the low volume nodes. If we do a pullback to the upper side, I have a sell zone around 40.72 to 40.93. And further up, I have a sell zone around 41.57 to 41.75. So this is for the most recent profiles. Further above, if I overlay the low volume nodes. If we break this L zone, then we have potential to trade this upper distribution, and above this distribution I have a bigger sell zone where we sold off from the all-time highs of this contract. So that's it for gold. Let's go over to S&P. S&P, we had also for the Nasdaq, it looks very similar. So we had some good news over the weekend, which indicate that there is a potential to get an agreement on the US and China tariff and trade deals. So we had a gap up, and I'm looking to close this gap, at least that they test the previous day or RTH session high for the S&P at 68.41. So they close this gap. If they manage to close this gap and trade further below, then we have the CPI's news impact that was causing the Friday's move. And if you look at the Friday's profile of the RTH and the Globex session, then it's visible that basically they have to do some business on top here. And if you look at the composite profile, that you see that we have some missing trading to be done here, so to fill out this profile. So what I could imagine for the S&P to happen is that they correct at least the gap that they created overnight. If they trade further down to test the previous RTH POC, then also they can fill up this area. So then we have a good distribution. Further down, we could potentially test also the POC of the Globex session from first day. No, sorry, it's the RTH POC. So if we trade further down to 6800, then get acceptance underneath, I see potential to trade again in this distribution. Keep in mind that we have a lot of earnings this week, and also on Wednesday we have the rate decision. So a lot of action to come. At least that's what I expect. Looking at the Nasdaq profile, looks very similar to what we've seen in the S&P. So we have this gap. I will move the gap further up to the close to see where we actually have the gap. But looking at the volume by price chart and the Nasdaq, we see basically the same, that we have missing trading to be done here around 25.44.21, and basically the whole overnight gap there was no trading, so they need to do some trading in here. How they do this, I don't know. Maybe it's a slow grind down, maybe they impulse up to take out the highs. I don't know, I cannot predict this. So I'll be looking to trade of my zones, and my zones are, if we get acceptance on the volume by price level 25.347 and below, then I'm looking to trade through the lower distribution where we accumulated quite a lot of volume. Further down, I have a support, which if you look at the recent trading, that seems to match here with 25,213. So if we trade down here, then I have the open RTH POC from first day at 25,264 that I want to get see tested. If we trade further down, then I'll be careful at 25,213. Looking at the market profile, I have some buy zones, and first is around here in the European session, right next to the European Open, is 25,791 to 25,802. And in the previous Friday session, I have 25,456 to 25,457, and further down in the Globex session, I have 25,334 to 25,342. So that's all from my side for the levels. And now I'll go through the discussion with the community. So good